The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Upper McKenzie Rural Fire Protection District, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38683. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. On the front bumper in the cutout section, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks inside the grill area. Moving out to the driver's side face of the front bumper, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving to the outer edge of the cab is where you'll find your turn indicator marker light and also headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. In the grill section, just above the Pierce logo, is where you'll find 2 forward-facing emergency warning lights. On the top of the bumper on the driver's side is where you'll find your air horn. On the A-pillar, you'll find your flat and convex mirrors. Moving up to the upper brow section, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights, and onto the roof of the vehicle is where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of those items we just talked about. First, starting with those open-ended tow hooks in the grill cutout. Now moving over to the driver's side, where you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving up to the headlight structure, where you'll find the high and low beam and turn indicator, also side-facing emergency warning light. Back to the grill area, Pierce logo, 2 forward-facing emergency warning lights embedded within the grill. As we move up to the top, this is the manual control where you put your hand for tilting the hood for gaining access into the engine area. Identification clearance lights, and at the top, emergency warning light. Let's move around to the side of the apparatus. This is the side-facing emergency warning light. On the top of the fender is where you'll find your turn indicator. To the back of the fender, it's where you'll find your hood release. There's also one on the passenger side. Moving up on top of the fender, you'll find your air horn. Also, just behind that is where you'll find the air inlet for your engine. Moving now to your mirrors, housing a flat mirror at the top, convex mirror at the lower portion. Easily accessible with a gloved hand, these are the door lock and latch combination. They're a key door lock, and also grab handles for gaining entry and exit into the cab. Down at the very base of the step is where you'll find the ultra low sulfur diesel fill. That's the silver cap, and the blue cap, which is your DEF fill location. We'll go and take a look at some close-ups, first with your wheel, steel wheel. Moving now into the upper section where you'll find the turn indicator. To the rear of the fender, this is the release for your hood. And then up to the air horn and air inlet. Moving now to the A-pillar where you'll find your mirror. And then door lock and latch combination, and right next to that is the grab handle for remaining 3 points of entry. Let's go back down to the step area where the fuel tank is located. Once again, ultra low sulfur diesel fill, silver cap. Right next to that is the blue cap, which is your DEF fill location. At the top of the step, you'll also find an air inlet, and then also shoreline inlet right next to that. We'll take a look at some close-ups real quick here of the step area. And then moving into the air inlet at the top. And then right next to that, once again, is the shoreline inlet. This is a 20 amp inlet. Back down in the fill location, silver cap for ultra low sulfur diesel. And then right next to that one is going to be the fill location, blue cap, for your DEF. Let's go ahead and move inside the cab area next. First, we'll start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock, window control. Up on the very top, you'll find your mirror control for left and right mirrors, and then a joystick for that mirror. At the base of the floor near the seat is where you'll find your master battery switch. You'll also find an indicator, and then also a yellow placard, which we'll go over next. First, let's start with the battery switch located on the floor level. When plugged into Shoreline Power, you'll find this illuminating, which is your battery voltage indicator. Right next to that, you'll find the yellow placard. This is manufactured for your department. This houses the data information regarding the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, all of the fluid components for each individual component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. Let's move to the floorboard, where you'll find a push button foot pedal for your air horn. Back up to the top where you'll find your ignition, keyed ignition with a green indicator right next to it. We'll move up onto the dash. This is your yellow placard indicating height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. And then all of your switches here are for cruise control and headlight control. Let's go back to that yellow placard. Height of the vehicle, 9 feet 10 inches. Length of your vehicle, 30 feet 1 inch. Gross vehicle weight rating, 44,600 pounds. It also has the 5-digit job number, 38683 TR-01. Now to the center console area on the dash, where you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions for its operation, instructions from road to pump. And then just beneath that, there are instructions here from road or from pump to road. Just as a reminder, when exiting the cab, you'll need 2 green indicators when pump shift is engaged, pump engaged, and OK to pump illuminating. Right next to that, pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. This is the rear spring brake. To the right, you're going to find a red switch. This is the high idle switch, and also a green indicator indicating it's OK to engage the high idle. Next to that is the activation for your tire change. This is your regen switch. Right next to that is the automatic door locks. And then also next to that you'll find is your mirror heat. Moving down onto the next switch panel, perimeter lights, deck lights, and load manager. Moving to the very far right, you'll find tally lights, for example, door open, low voltage. Let's move down to the further portion of the dash, where you'll find your climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. There is a center console located here for supplies, and then also just to the back side of that is where you'll find MacBook storage location. Let's move overhead in the center console. We have additional switches and also some information at the very top here regarding seatbelt information. Red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted. Green indicating they're in the seat and belted. Also some switches here for emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. To the right of this location, we're going to find our PA speaker and electronic siren. Just a quick shot here to the rear seats, 3 seats across the rear wall, and also all containing SCBA brackets. As we move into that space, we go up the 2 steps here into the rear portion of the cab, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, grab handle, manual window control, and door lock and latch. On the base of the seats, each one of these pedestals does have additional storage under the seat area. Let's go ahead and move now to the exterior of the truck into the pump panel area. We'll start at the very top section where your red line or booster reel is located. This is the master stream device. It does have an extend-a-gun, extending the gun over the top of the cab section. There are also LED floodlights located in this area. Surface walkway lights. And now we'll move into the 2 crosslays. Crosslay 1 and crosslay 2, both of these are foam capable. As we move into the main components of the pump panel area, we'll start with the red section, which is your foam system. This is a Foam Pro. Also indication lights here for foam level. There are instructions for its operation on the red placard. In the gray module, master intake gauge and master discharge gauge. Also you'll find on this placard test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They're in the lower section, and these are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. Just to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. At the top of that is where you'll find an audible speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate. Just below this, pressure throttle governor, To the right, you'll find some switches and indicators. One of them is an OK to pump green indicator. This must be illuminating for pump operations. Also, warning placard here, fall hazard. Always climb on and off the vehicle. Please face the vehicle. As we move down to the discharge, you'll find deluge discharge and driver rear discharge, which is foam capable. Minimum operation maintenance scheduled for test pressures are located here. As we move to the right, crosslay 1, crosslay 2, and also the reel discharge, all three of those foam capable. These are the 2.5-inch discharge, driver 1 and passenger 2. As we move to the right, you'll find the fire pump, push to prime air with instructions for at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices, and also number 4 driver side discharge. This is the large diameter discharge. Engine cooler, this is a twist, not a pull. And as we move down, you'll tank fill and recirculating line, and then right next to that, you'll find your tank to pump. We'll move just down and slightly to the left on the pump panel area. Starting first with a few warning placards, entanglement hazard. Because the line's coming from aloft, there's a possibility of entanglement, and then also a warning here regarding pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure. As we move to the right, we do have a warning placard here. Only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. That's only after proper training. In the center, you'll find the American flag, eagle, and Pierce logo. This is your large diameter pump inlet. We do have a Watrous placard indicating the type of pump CS and a capacity of 1,250 GPM. Across the very bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move just to the right where you'll find a 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. This is locally controlled via the ball valve, female inlet, and also minimum operation maintenance schedule instructions. A pan access door here for gaining access behind the pump panel. This is so you can gain access to the calibration flush and inject for your foam system valve. As we move further to the right, you'll find your main pump drain, and then also just down to the lower portion underneath that, you'll find the manual pump shift. Let's go ahead and take a look at the vertical wall here. There are fold down steps, 4 of them, for gaining access to go aloft. As we move to the main body, you'll find 2 folding wheel chocks just in front of the rear axle. You'll also find a marker turn indicator light just above that. SCBA bottle storage in the first pan door. Lift and turn latch will gain you access into this space. Directly over the axle, lower zone emergency warning lights for your side lights. And then as we move all the way up to the very top, we have rigid hose storage for your drafting tubes. And then to the very rear portion, a 360 emergency warning light. Let's take a look at all the compartments open. We'll identify some of the items within this space. Let's start to the one closest to the pump panel and work our way to the back. Starting at the very top, when plugged into Shoreline Power, this is your battery charge. Will activate to maintain batteries. Also a bracket here for SCBA bottle or pack. To the front of the rear axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 3 bottles with retaining straps. Emergency warning light directly over the axle. As we move down, steel wheel, and then also you'll find Michelin tires. Moving to the upper compartment, where you'll find a tool board on the rear wall. And as we look underneath this is the very rear compartment. You'll find mud flaps and then also a quick glimpse here of your tire chains. As we move to the top, emergency warning light, and then just above that, a rear-facing scene light. We'll take a look at the rear of the truck where we have an emergency warning light, brake light, turn and reverse lights. At the very top, you'll have a discharge, 2.5-inch, and at the very top of that, downward-facing floodlights. Let's take a quick look. First, these are the emergency brake, turn, and reverse. License plate holder with light. Moving just up from this location where you'll find the 2 folding steps and then also some warning placards here. Entanglement hazard. Never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And then also when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. And in the upper top portion of this image is your 2.5-inch rear discharge. Let's move down just to the roll-up door where you'll find on each of the vertical sides steps that do fold down. Same on the opposite side. Let's take a look inside the compartment now. LED lighting, an adjustable shelf inside. And then as we move to the under section where you'll find a tow hook and then also a glimpse here of the tire chains hanging down. 24-foot extension ladder, 14-foot roof, and a 10-foot attic. That's what's composed in this compartment. D-handle gains you access into this space. Let's move slightly above this location. This is where that emergency warning light is located, and then also rear-facing floodlight. Emergency light, brake, turn, and reverse. General view here of the entire truck. Let's move around now to the passenger side. We'll identify a few items within this space. First, starting with all compartment doors open, just to take a quick look inside. We'll start just to the rear, where you'll find SCBA bottle storage and an oxygen bottle storage for 2 bottles and 1 oxygen bottle with retaining straps. Emergency warning light lower zone. This is directly over the rear axle. To the forward section of the axle, 3 SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining straps. I'd like to point out extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operations. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move into the next compartments, when plugged into shoreline power, these outlets will become active. Now we're to the mid section where you'll find your booster reel or red line. And then just forward of this location, the 2 crosslays, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2, once again foam capable. As we move into the pump panel, there are 2 pan doors for gaining access behind the pump panel. Also, you'll find a reel rewind switch, large diameter pump inlet. This is the Pierce logo American flag eagle, and then the 2 2.5-inch discharges. And down at the very bottom section, the 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet on the passenger side, locally controlled via the ball valve female inlet. Here's your pump panel light. We'll move through the items here relatively fast. As we move further to the right, you'll find the reel rewind switch. Then as we look into the pan door at the very top section, lift and turn latch will gain you access for visual inspection into the pump panel area, but you'll also find the intake relief valve, their instructions for its operations on the actual placard. We do have some warning placards here. Pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure, be cautious when opening them. And then also entanglement hazard, because of those lines coming from the crosslay, there's the possibility of entanglement. We do have a lower portion door here to gain access into the pump panel area. This is where your relief valve is located, and then also you'll find your foam tank drain. A couple of warning placards here regarding pressure hazard, and then also entanglement hazard. These are the 2 2.5-inch discharges. Passenger side auxiliary inlet, 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. That was the drain previously. This is the inlet valve. To the Pierce logo American flag eagle, large diameter pump inlet. And then across the bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharges. We'll now move into the cab section, identify a few items here, starting first with the cab rear doors. Let's go ahead and move inside the cab area. Door lock and latch combination, grab handle for maintaining 3 points of contact on the door itself, the door panel, all of our safety and warning placard information. Same configuration and layout as we see from the passenger side as we have on the driver's side, 3 seats across the rear wall. As we move into the step well, we do have additional step lights and then also some warning placards here regarding slip hazard. Moving to the forward section of the cab, you'll find a downward facing mirror for your driver, and then also a flat mirror and convex mirror down in the lower portion on the A pillar. Into the door itself, once again, door lock and latch, grab handle, into the inside of the officer space where you'll find affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door latch, manual window controls. As we move inside the cab itself, let's identify a few more items within this space. Grab handle on the A pillar. As we move inside the cab, you'll find additional storage cubbies located at the roof level. Down at the console level, you'll find a audible alarm and then also the vehicle data recording port. Under the seat, you'll find additional storage. As we move to the floor level, additional warnings here regarding slip hazard and then also step lights. As we move to the forward fender, you'll find at the rear of that fender is the release mechanism for gaining access into the hood. Onto the top of the fender is your marker turn indicator light, and then just forward of that location is your emergency warning light. Once again, steel wheel and a Michelin tire. As we move just up from this location, you'll find your headlight structure housing high and low beam and also marker light. You can now see that emergency warning light. Congratulations, Upper McKenzie Rural Fire Protection District, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38683. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.